Ladies, let me tell you something. Some things in life just don't need to be shared. I know. We live in a world where people say honesty is the best policy. And yes, honesty is important, but wisdom, that's the real secret weapon. See, a smart woman knows what to share and what to keep to herself. Because let's be real, some things a man just doesn't need to know. So let's get into it. The 5 things a woman must always hide from a man. Ladies, let me tell you something. When it comes to emotions, men and women are wired completely differently. Women are emotional creatures. They feel everything deeply, and that's a beautiful thing. But men, men don't always know what to do with all that emotion. You ever notice how a man gets real quiet when a woman starts crying? That's because his brain is scrambling, trying to figure out how to fix it. See, men don't process emotions the way women do. They don't always understand that sometimes a woman just needs to express herself without expecting a solution. Now, don't get me wrong, your man cares about you. He wants you to be happy. But when you bring him every single emotional shift, every worry, every frustration, every overthinking spiral, he starts feeling like he's drowning in a sea of feelings he doesn't know how to handle. He's not ignoring you. He's just overwhelmed. And when a man gets overwhelmed, what does he do? He shuts down, he pulls away, and then what happens? Now you're even more upset, wondering why he's acting distant, why he doesn't seem to care, why he's not responding the way you want him to. But the truth is, he's not built to process emotions at the level you are. A smart woman understands this. She knows that while it's important to share her feelings, she also needs to filter what she brings to her man. Some emotions, you take those to your journal, your best friend, your mom, or you pray on them. Because here's the thing, men respect stability. They admire a woman who knows how to manage her emotions without letting them control her. If you're crying over every small thing, panicking over every little issue, always in a state of stress or frustration, that man is going to start feeling like he's living in an emotional hurricane. And let me tell you, men don't like storms. They like peace. Now, this doesn't mean you should bottle everything up. No. But it does mean you should be intentional about what you share and how you share it. If something is really bothering you, bring it up in a way that invites conversation, not chaos. Instead of an emotional explosion, make it a discussion. Because when a man feels like he can support you instead of constantly having to rescue you, he's going to stay engaged, stay present, and stay committed. Ladies, let me tell you something. When it comes to his friends and family, a man is blind. I mean, completely, totally head in the clouds. I don't see what you see, kind of blind. You could meet one of his closest friends and immediately pick up on things he has never noticed. Maybe the guy's a bad influence. Maybe he's disrespectful. Maybe he's the type who encourages bad decisions. But your man, he's been friends with him since the 3rd grade, and to him, that guy is family. So what happens when you try to tell him the truth? He gets defensive. See, men are loyal. If they've been rocking with somebody for years, they don't want to hear that their best friend is a fool. And if you start criticizing that friend too much, suddenly you're the problem now. He's not thinking about whether you're right. He's thinking about how he has to choose between the woman he loves and the friend who's been there forever. And let me tell you, that's a position you don't want to put him in, because more often than not, he's going to resist. He may not walk away from you, but he will start feeling some type of way about you questioning his judgment. And once a man feels like you don't trust his ability to choose good people, that starts creating cracks in the relationship. Now, let's talk about his family. Because, this is even trickier. If his mama is overbearing, if his sister is manipulative, if his cousin is always in his business, trust me, he knows. Somewhere deep down, he's aware of it. But that's his blood, and no matter how wrong they are, he's going to have a hard time hearing it from you. If you come in swinging, telling him your mother is too controlling or your family doesn't respect boundaries, He's going to feel like you're attacking the people who raised him. And a man's relationship with his family runs deep, even when it's complicated. So what do? You play it smart. Instead of coming at him with criticism, you drop little hints. You guide him to see things for himself. If his best friend is toxic, you don't say that guy's a bad influence. You ask questions. Babe, have you noticed that every time you hang out with him, you come back frustrated? Or you ever feel like he doesn't really support you the way a best friend should? You plant the seed and let him start putting the pieces together. Because when he realizes it, it's different. Now it's his decision to distance himself, not something you forced on him. And when it comes to family, it's even more delicate. If his mother is crossing boundaries, you don't attack her. You set your own. You show through actions, not arguments, that you expect respect. If she's constantly calling him to interfere in your relationship, you don't say, your mom needs to stop. You say, babe, I love how close you are with your mom, but I also want to make sure we have our own space to make decisions as a couple. Now, you're not attacking, you're inviting him to step up and set boundaries. Because here's the truth. Men don't like to feel controlled. The moment they think you're trying to take them away from their friends or family, they resist. But if they realize on their own that someone in their life is toxic or causing problems, now it's their choice to handle it. And a man is always more committed to a choice he feels like he made, not one he was pushed into. So be patient, be strategic. Because the woman who knows how to guide a man without forcing him, that's the woman he respects, listens to, and stays with. Ladies, let me tell you something. Your past is your past. And while honesty is important in a relationship, there are just some things a man does not need to know. See, women think that if they lay everything out on the table, if they tell a man every single detail about their past, it'll make the relationship stronger. But let me tell you, that's not how men operate. A man might say he wants to know everything, but the truth is, he doesn't really want to hear it. He just thinks he does. And once you tell him something, you can't take it back. It's in his mind forever. Men are visual creatures. If you tell a man about an ex, about a situation you regret, about a time you made a bad decision, he's not just hearing it. He's seeing it. He's picturing it in his mind. And trust me, that image does not go away easily. You might think it's just a story, just a piece of your past, but to him, it's a whole scene playing out in his head. And even if he says he's okay with it, deep down something shifts. It might be small at first, maybe a little doubt, a little insecurity, but over time, that thing grows. See, men are territorial. When they love a woman, they want to feel like she's theirs in every way. And when they hear too much about her past, especially things that challenge that idea, it messes with them. Now, I'm not saying you should lie. No. But I am saying you should be selective. You should share what's necessary, but not every single detail. Because some things, they serve no purpose in the present. Let's say you had a wild phase in your early 20s, made some mistakes, dated the wrong people. If that's not who you are today, then why bring it up? A man who truly loves you is in love with the woman in front of him, not the person you used to be. But if you start telling him too much, suddenly he's not just seeing you, he's seeing who you were. And sometimes that image is hard for him to shake. And let's talk about numbers. Because, that's a trap. If a man ever asks, how many people have you been with? Don't answer that question. Don't do it. No matter what number you say, it's going to mess with his head. If it's too high, he's going to feel insecure, wondering if he measures up. If it's too low, he might not believe you. Either way, you lose. That number doesn't define you, and it sure doesn't determine the kind of woman you are today. The only thing that matters is how you treat him, how you love him, how you show up in the relationship now. And it's not just about relationships. It's about every part of your past. Maybe you struggled financially. Maybe you made mistakes in your career. Maybe you had friendships that ended badly. Some of that, sure, you can share. But if it doesn't add value to your relationship, if it doesn't help build trust, then why bring it up? A man wants to feel like He's with a woman who is confident in who she is today, not someone who is constantly revisiting and explaining her past. Because here's the thing, when a man truly loves you, he wants to protect you, to cherish you, to see you as his. And if you overload him with details to challenge that image, it can create unnecessary problems. A wise woman knows how to balance honesty with wisdom. She knows how to share enough to build trust, but not so much that it plants doubt. She focuses on the present, on building something real, something strong. Because at the end of the day, a man doesn't need to know everything. He just needs to know that the woman he's with is his, fully and completely. Ladies, let me tell you something. Men like to think they're mysterious. They walk around believing they've got layers upon layers, that they're unpredictable, that no one truly understands them. But the truth is, a smart woman can read a man like an open book. She sees his patterns, she knows his habits, she can predict his next move before he even makes it. But here's the catch. You never let him know that. See, a man wants to feel like he's surprising you, like he's keeping you on your toes. If you let him know you've got him all figured out, he starts feeling exposed. And when a man feels exposed, he pulls back. He starts to wonder if he's lost his edge, if he's become too predictable. And sometimes he'll even start doing things differently just to prove you wrong. Now, why would you want to make him go and complicate things for no reason? A wise woman plays along. If he thinks he's being smooth, let him believe it. If he's planning something special and you already know what it is, act surprised. If he's telling you a story you've already heard, don't cut him off. Let him tell it. Because in his mind, he's leading, he's keeping you interested. He's still got that air of mystery that men love to hold on to. The moment you take that away, the dynamic shifts. And let's talk about emotions. You know when he's upset, even when he swears he's fine. You know when something is bothering him, even when he says it's nothing. But if you press him too hard, if you say, I already know what's wrong, he might shut down even more. Men like to feel like they're in control of their emotions, even when they're not. Instead of telling him what he's feeling, let him come to you on his own. Give him space, let him process. And when he's ready, he'll open up. But if you make him feel like you've already got him completely figured out, he'll hold back just to prove that you don't. And this isn't just about emotions. It's about the little things too. If you know what he's going to order at a restaurant, don't say it before he does. If you already know the excuse he's about to make for being late, don't call him out before he even says it. Let him believe he's still got some level of unpredictability. Men need that. It keeps them engaged. It keeps them invested. It keeps them feeling like they're bringing something fresh to the table. Now, this doesn't mean you have to play dumb. Oh, no, not at all. It just means you have to be strategic. You hold on to the information you have, you use it when necessary, but you don't lay all your cards on the table at once. You let him think he's still full of surprises, even when you've seen every move before he's made it. Because when a man feels like he's still winning you over, still impressing you, still keeping you on your toes, that's when he stays locked in. But the moment he feels like you've got him all figured out, like he's lost his mystery, like he's predictable, that's when he starts pulling away, looking for ways to shake things up. So keep it playful. Let him think he's still surprising you. Let him believe he's still got a few tricks up his sleeve. Because when a man feels like he's still in the game, that's when he keeps playing. And trust me, that's exactly where you want him to be. Ladies, let me tell you something. Men love a strong woman. They admire independence, confidence, and a woman who can handle her own. But at the same time, a man also needs to feel needed. He needs to believe that he brings something to your life that no one else does. See, the moment a man starts thinking, she doesn't really need me, something shifts in the way he sees the relationship. He starts feeling like an accessory instead of a necessity. And when a man feels unnecessary, he starts pulling away. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. Why should I have to pretend to need him? I'm capable of doing things myself. And you're absolutely right. You're strong, you're capable, you've been handling things on your own for years. But here's the thing. Just because you can do it alone doesn't mean you should let him believe that you don't need him at all. There's a balance. A wise woman knows how to let a man feel like he's contributing, like he's protecting, like he's leading, even when she's perfectly capable of handling things on her own. Let's say you have a jar that's hard to open. Now, you could struggle with it for a second and eventually pop it open yourself. But what happens when you hand it to your man and say, babe, can you open this for me? He puffs up a little, feels strong, does it with ease, and suddenly in his mind, he just helped you. It's a small thing, but it feeds his natural instinct to provide and protect. And this applies to bigger things too. Maybe your car breaks down and you already know how to call the mechanic, maybe even fix a few things yourself. But instead of just handling it solo, you say, babe, I don't know what's wrong with my car. Can you take a look? Even if all he does is stand there and say, yeah, you should call a mechanic. In his mind, he was involved. He helped. And that's the part that matters. See, when a man feels like he has a role in your life, he stays engaged. But when he feels like he's just there, like you got everything figured out and don't really need him, he starts questioning his place in the relationship. And the truth is, it's not about weakness. It's about allowing him to be a man. When you let him take charge of certain things, even when you don't really need him to, you're feeding his natural desire to provide, to support, to be your rock. Now, let's talk about finances. If you're independent, making your own money, paying your own bills, that's a beautiful thing. But if a man offers to take care of something, whether it's dinner, gas, or even helping you out in a tough time, don't be so quick to shut him down. If you always say, no, I got it, you might think you're showing him that you're strong, but what he hears is, she doesn't need me. And that can mess with a man's mind. Even in decision-making, a man wants to feel like he's leading, like his opinion matters. So instead of always making the final call, sometimes let him take charge. Ask his advice even if you already know what you want to do. Say, babe, what do you think? Let him feel like his perspective is valuable, like he's guiding, like he's bringing something to the table. It's not about pretending to be someone you're not. It's about understanding that men and women operate differently. A man wants to feel like he's needed, not just wanted. He wants to believe that he's contributing something meaningful to your life. And when you let him believe that, even in small ways, you keep him invested, engaged, and locked in.